Hi everyone, how are you doing? Well, today we have a new lesson. As you see in the picture, we have two homeless children. You can take some time and describe their life. Okay, the life of a homeless child is a little bit or completely different. So they live on the streets and they have no places to stay, and you know the rest. So take some time and tell us something about their lives. Well, here we have a dialogue here. Read the dialogue and answer the question. This is a journalist. He is interviewing a homeless child. Can I ask you some questions if you don't mind? Go ahead. Do you like living on the streets? I wish I had a house like other children. If I had a family, I wouldn't be here miserable as you see. If there was a shelter where to stay, I would go there immediately. Unfortunately, there isn't. What would you do if you weren't homeless? I would do many amazing things if I wasn't homeless. For example, I would study hard if I had a chance to go to school. Alright, so this is a journalist interviewing a homeless child, of course, about the situation on the streets and life there. The first question, does this child have a family? Of course, you see in the dialogue. Does he want to live in a shelter for the homeless? And number 3, can he go to school now? So here I have made some sentences in bold so you can see the answers. You have here, if I had a family, I wouldn't be there miserable, as you see. And so these are going to help you to answer questions. Alright, so take some time and answer the questions. Now, let's move. I have already answered the questions. So here we have answers. Does the child have a family? No, he doesn't have a family. How do we know? Because in the dialogue he says, if I had a family, I wouldn't be here miserable as you see. So here, it's a sentence which starts with if, and we have two sentences, number 1 here and number 2 here. This is if clause, and second one is main clause. Look here, he says, if I had a family. He uses simple past. Okay, this which means that he doesn't have a family. He says the opposite of what is real. So we say, if I had a family, I wouldn't. He uses also would. I wouldn't be here miserable. Okay, so this is the opposite of what exists now. The reality now is different. He doesn't have a family and he lives miserable. Second question, does he want to live in a shelter for the homeless? Yes, he wants that. He says, if there was a shelter where to stay, I would go there. He is ready to go to a shelter, but the problem is, he uses here, if there was a shelter, which means that there is no shelter and he can't go there. He says, I would go, but he can't because there is no shelter. And last one, can he go to school? No, of course he can't. He says, I would study hard if I had the chance to go to school. Does he have the chance to go to school? No, because he is living on the streets. So here he uses also simple past, and here he uses would. So to summarize, we have conditional, like the condition we had before. So here we have if plus, here you see it's simple past, and here we have subject, would, and verb, or wouldn't and verb. So what do you think this conditional which type? Of course you know it, it's conditional type 2. So does he speak here about something real or something imaginary? No, he speaks about something imaginary, something which is not real. Here it's conditional type 2, the form if plus simple past, comma, subject, would, verb without to. It means verb in the infinitive, bare infinitive. When do we use this? We use conditional type 2 for impossible or imaginary situations in the present. Something which is impossible to happen now, or it's just imaginary. He says, if I had a family, I would be with them now. Is he with his family? No. Why? Because he doesn't have a family. This is why he uses it in conditional type 2. It's just imaginary. Okay? So I think it's clear. Here, do the matching to form correct conditional sentences. It's clear here we have A to G and 1 to 7. Let's do number 1. We would travel around Morocco. What? Why can't you travel around Morocco now? Because you say here would. It's in simple past. We would travel around Morocco if we had a house at the seaside. No. If I were a billionaire. Maybe. If my father had a car. If my father had a car, we would travel around Morocco. Does your father have a car? No, he doesn't have a car. Okay, you see something now which is different. Okay, please finish the exercise. It's easy. Next one, put the verbs in the correct form. As you see, it's the same one we had before for conditional type 1, only this one is conditional type 2. If I were you, get a new job. When you have a job that you don't like and you keep complaining to your friend, and your friend say, well, if I were you, I would get a new job. Okay, it's an advice, this one here. If I were you, if I were in your position, I would get a new job. Clear? So you finish the others. Last task, free practice, ask and answer questions. So the first question, what would you do if you weren't born here? For example, you're born in India. For example, you would say, if I weren't born in India, I would be happy. For example, if I weren't born in Morocco, I would be an engineer or I would be a singer. Okay, it's clear. Where would you go on holiday if you had a jet? Okay, if you had, you see those jets owned by famous celebrities and mainly rich people. So if you had one like that one, where would you go? Okay, how would you solve the problem of joblessness, or you can say homelessness, if you were in the government? You are not in the government. You are just using your imagination. It's just imaginary. So if you were in the government, how would you help the jobless or the homeless? And last one, what would you do if you were a ghost, if you had a gun, if you had $1 million, etc.? In a way, you ask questions like this and you answer. Okay? So, I hope that you are going to find the video useful. If you have any questions, please write them down in the comment section below and take much care. See you soon. Bye-bye.